Life isn't always going to be easy. We all face obstacles, setbacks, and tough moments. It's natural to feel frustrated, to want to complain, or to try explaining ourselves to others. But here's the truth. Complaining and justifying only drain our energy and weaken our power. Instead of letting challenges define you, imagine the strength you can build by taking control of your responses. What if, instead of complaining, you took action? What if, instead of explaining your every move, you showed the world what you're capable of through your actions? In this video, we'll explore how the simple principle of never complain, never explain can change the way you lead your life. This mindset will not only help you grow stronger, but will also earn you respect, boost your confidence, and help you become the best version of yourself. Let's dive in and take control of our future today. Number 1. Take control by refusing to speak about problems. The words you speak have power. When you talk about problems, you're giving them more power. You're giving them a voice, a presence, and a space in your life. You're inviting negativity into your world. To break free from this cycle, you must refuse to speak about problems. When you do that, you take control. Talking about problems doesn't solve them, it only reinforces them. When you focus on problems, you give them energy. You bring them to the forefront of your mind and your conversations. But here's the reality. Nothing good ever comes from simply talking about problems. It's easy to get caught in a cycle where all you do is discuss how bad things are, but this doesn't help you move forward. Instead of moving towards solutions, you end up wallowing in the issue itself. The first step to taking control is refusing to speak about the problems. Stop giving it your attention, your words, your focus. When you speak about something, you give it energy. But when you refuse to talk about problems, you take that energy back. You redirect your focus on what you can do to solve the issue, instead of letting the issue dictate your thoughts and conversations. Let's get real for a moment. Every time you talk about the problems you're facing, you reinforce them. You keep them alive. You keep them real. You talk about your challenges as if they define you. But what if they didn't? What if the power of the challenge was simply in how you viewed it and how you responded to it? The key to success and personal control is shifting your focus away from the problem and onto the solution. Speaking about the problem only amplifies it. Speaking about it doesn't make it go away or become easier. In fact, the more you talk about it, the bigger it grows in your mind, and the more energy you give it. It becomes something that is constantly in your thoughts, always at the forefront of your mind. When you stop talking about the problem, you stop feeding it. You stop giving it the energy it needs to take over your life. Instead, you start focusing on the things you can control. You start thinking about what can be done to move past it. Your mind starts to shift from a place of helplessness to a place of possibility. One of the most powerful things you can do is stop speaking negatively about your challenges. That doesn't mean you deny them or pretend they don't exist. No, it means you stop giving them power over you. You acknowledge them, but you don't dwell on them. You recognize that the challenge is there, but you don't let it dominate your thoughts or your words. You choose to focus on the solutions, the actions, and the changes you can make. This mindset change is transformative. When you choose to speak only about solutions, you start to take control of the situation. You start to act as the problem solver, not the problem dweller. You take ownership of the outcome by focusing your energy on what you can do, rather than being trapped by what you can't do. This shift is the difference between feeling overwhelmed by circumstances and feeling empowered to face them head-on. Understand this: problems are a part of life. They will always be there, but how you respond to them, how you talk about them, and what you focus on can change everything. It's not the problem itself that determines your success or failure, but how you approach it. When you talk about problems, you're stuck in the past. You're stuck in what's wrong, what isn't working, what's challenging. But when you focus on solutions, you're looking to the future. You're looking forward. You're asking, what can I do to fix this? What steps can I take to make things better? The way you talk about problems reveals a lot about your mindset. People who constantly talk about their problems are often people who feel powerless. They feel overwhelmed by circumstances, and convinced that there's nothing they can do to change their situation. But people who focus on solutions, who refuse to get bogged down in endless discussions about what's wrong, are people who believe they have control. They believe that no matter what happens, they have the power to act and to improve their circumstances. So how do you start? The next time you feel yourself about to talk about a problem, stop, take a breath. Recognize that you don't need to give this challenge any more power. You don't need to talk about it anymore. Instead, think about what you can do right now to address the situation. What is the first step you can take to solve the problem? What can you control in this moment? When you stop speaking about problems, you also stop blaming others. You stop pointing fingers. You stop being a victim of your circumstances. Instead, you take ownership of the situation. You stop complaining about what's wrong and start taking action to make it right. You stop asking, "Why is this happening to me?" and start asking, "What can I do to fix this?" This mindset shift is crucial. When you refuse to speak about problems, you empower yourself to move forward. You stop allowing external factors to control your mood, your attitude, and your actions. You take control of your own thoughts, your own words, and your own future. You stop being a passenger in your life and start becoming the driver. I know it's not easy. Problems are hard. They can feel overwhelming. But no matter how big or small, when you refuse to speak about them and choose instead to focus on the solution, you regain control. The problem no longer holds power over you. You hold the power. You start to become proactive instead of reactive. You stop waiting for things to change and start taking steps to create the change yourself. Let's be honest, no one ever achieved greatness by sitting around talking about their problems. No one ever reached their full potential by focusing on everything that was wrong in their life. Success comes when you stop complaining about your situation and start taking action to improve it. It comes when you choose to invest your energy in what you can control instead of what you can't. So take control by refusing to speak about problems. Shift your focus, stop dwelling on the negative, and start putting your energy into solutions. Stop waiting for things to magically get better and start doing what you can to make them better. Your actions will speak louder than any words ever could, and by consistently choosing action over complaint, you will create the life you truly desire. The next time you feel tempted to talk about a problem, pause, take a deep breath. Reframe your thoughts, and ask yourself, what can I do about this right now? Then take that first step, no matter how small, and keep moving forward. Each time you make that choice, you are gaining control. You are becoming the leader of your own life, and you are creating the future you want. It's in your hands, the power to lead, to take control, and to make your life the way you want it to be is already within you. Don't give that power away by focusing on problems. Keep it, use it, take control. Number 2, protect your power by staying silent under doubt. When doubt creeps in, it's easy to feel the need to speak up, to explain yourself, or to defend your choices. But there is immense power in silence, especially when you're unsure. Protecting your power by staying silent under doubt is a choice that can make all the difference. It is a skill that strengthens your inner resolve and allows you to maintain control over your actions and decisions, even when everything around you feels uncertain. Doubt is a natural part of life. We all experience it at different points, especially when faced with tough decisions or uncertain situations. It can come from within, self-doubt, or from others, when they question your choices or challenge your beliefs. In either case, doubt can feel like a force that pulls you away from your center, making you second-guess your every move. But here's the thing, doubt is not a sign of weakness, and it doesn't have to control you. It's simply a sign that you are human, that you care, and that you're engaging with your circumstances on a deeper level. What makes a difference in how you handle doubt is your response to it. When doubt appears, it can feel as if you must respond immediately. It might feel like you need to explain yourself, to justify your actions, or to give others an explanation of your thinking. But responding to doubt in this way can drain your power. Every time you explain yourself under doubt, you give away a piece of your energy. You start to lose control of your narrative and your direction. You may begin to doubt your decisions more, questioning every step you've taken. The more you speak, the more you might end up reinforcing the very doubts you're trying to dispel. Instead of speaking, instead of justifying, the most powerful choice you can make is to stay silent. Silence gives you space to reflect, to process, and to understand your own thoughts and feelings. It allows you to clear the fog of doubt without getting lost in unnecessary explanations or distractions. In silence, you can reconnect with your inner strength. You can remember why you made the decision in the first place and reaffirm your commitment to your path. This isn't about avoiding conflict or running from difficult conversations. It's about recognizing that silence is a form of protection. When you remain silent under doubt, you protect your energy, your thoughts, and your decisions from external influences. You don't let others or even your own inner turmoil dictate the course of your actions. You hold your ground with composure and clarity. Silence becomes your shield, allowing you to stay focused and centered even when the world around you is filled with uncertainty. One of the main reasons why staying silent under doubt is so powerful is because it keeps you grounded in your purpose. Think about it. When doubt arises, it's easy to become distracted by the noise of other people's opinions or the fear of making a mistake. If you immediately start defending or justifying your actions, you can easily get pulled off course. You start to make decisions based on the need for external validation, not because you trust your own judgment. But silence allows you to stay true to your purpose. It forces you to look inward and evaluate your motives. It forces you to ask, do I believe in this? Is this in alignment with my values and my goals? By staying silent, you protect your internal compass, allowing it to guide you, instead of being swayed by external forces. Another important reason to stay silent when in doubt is that it allows you to maintain your power. We often feel the urge to speak because we think that doing so will help us regain control over a situation. We might think that by explaining ourselves, we'll be able to convince others, or even ourselves, that we're making the right choice. But the truth is, words often fail to convince. Speaking from a place of doubt can make you seem uncertain and indecisive. It can make your words lose weight, and it can diminish your credibility. People will sense your lack of confidence, and it might lead them to doubt you even more. But when you stay silent, you don't give away your power. You don't need to convince anyone, because your confidence will speak for itself. Your ability to stay grounded and silent in the face of doubt speaks volumes about your self-assurance. Silence in the face of doubt also allows you to build emotional resilience. It teaches you to sit with discomfort without reacting. It's easy to fall into the trap of seeking immediate reassurance or validation when things feel uncertain. We may want to explain our choices to others or tell them why we believe in what we're doing. But by choosing silence instead of giving in to the urge to explain, you build your emotional strength. You learn that you can withstand discomfort, that you don't need constant approval or affirmation to move forward. You develop the ability to trust yourself and your decisions, even when you're not sure how things will turn out. This emotional resilience is invaluable in both your personal and professional life, as it helps you navigate challenges without being swayed by doubt or external pressures. Staying silent when doubt arises also gives you the space to observe. Often when we feel unsure or challenged, we rush to fill the silence with words or actions. But silence gives us the opportunity to observe our surroundings more clearly, to listen to others without interruption, and to gain insights that we might have missed if we were too busy speaking. By remaining silent, you allow yourself to absorb the full picture and make better, more informed decisions. You start to understand where doubt is coming from, whether it's your own fears or the opinions of others, and you can decide if it's worth addressing or letting go. Silence doesn't mean passivity. It doesn't mean you're avoiding action. It means you're taking the time to respond thoughtfully, rather than react impulsively. It means you're protecting your power by not giving in to the knee-jerk urge to explain, defend, or justify. Instead of speaking in doubt, you're choosing to act with purpose and precision. This is how you protect your power. This is how you rise above doubt, by not allowing it to control your words, your actions, or your direction. The power of silence in the face of doubt lies in its ability to center you. It gives you the strength to stand firm, even when uncertainty surrounds you. Silence in these moments allows you to hold on to your convictions, your beliefs, and your sense of self, without being swept away by doubt or external judgment. It becomes a tool for emotional mastery, one that will serve you well throughout your life. When you protect your power by staying silent under doubt, you reinforce your belief in yourself, your decisions, and your path. You stop seeking approval from others, and instead you trust that you have everything you need within you to move forward. When doubt strikes, remember, silence is not weakness. It is a choice, and it is an act of strength. By staying silent, you take control of the narrative. You protect your power, your emotions, and your future. You show the world that your confidence comes from within, not from the validation of others. And most importantly, you show yourself that no matter how loud the doubt becomes, you have the strength to remain silent, calm, and focused on your purpose. Number 3. Build self-respect by never justifying your decisions. When it comes to building self-respect, one of the most critical actions you can take is to stop justifying your decisions. It's a natural instinct to want to explain ourselves when questioned, but constantly justifying your choices weakens your sense of self-worth. The truth is, when you feel the need to justify every decision, you're signaling to others, and even to yourself, that you don't fully trust your own judgment. Self-respect is built on the foundation of confidence in your own decisions. When you constantly explain why you made a choice, you're indirectly communicating that you don't stand firmly in your own convictions. Justifying your decisions is often an attempt to gain approval or understanding from others. It's about seeking external validation. And when you're constantly seeking this kind of approval, you're giving away your power. You're allowing others' opinions to influence how you feel about yourself. When you justify yourself, you create a pattern of needing others to understand or agree with you. This need for validation is a form of insecurity. And while it's normal to want support from time to time, your decisions shouldn't rely on the approval of others. You should be able to stand tall and confident in your choices without needing anyone else to validate them. When you don't justify your decisions, you give yourself the freedom to be fully authentic. You take ownership of your actions and your decisions, and you embrace them without hesitation or doubt. The act of justification is often born from fear. It's a fear of judgment, a fear of rejection, or a fear that you'll be misunderstood. But here's the truth. You cannot live your life making decisions based on what others think of you. If you spend your life explaining and justifying your choices, you'll never truly be free to live authentically. You'll always be looking for approval, and you'll find that no matter how many justifications you offer, some people will always have an opinion or disagreement. And that's okay. Not everyone has to understand or agree with what you do. By refusing to justify your decisions, you start to take ownership of your life. You take full responsibility for the path you're on, for the choices you've made, and for where you're heading. When you stop justifying your actions, you stop allowing other people's judgments to affect your decisions. Your decisions are yours to make, and no one else's approval is required for you to move forward. This is incredibly empowering. It's a sign of maturity and confidence, and it signals to the world and to yourself that you value your own opinion above anyone else's. Another powerful aspect of not justifying your decisions is the space it creates for others to respect you. People who justify themselves constantly can come across as insecure or unsure. On the other hand, people who stand firm in their decisions, even if others don't understand them, command respect. When you stop explaining yourself, you remove the need for validation, and this gives you a certain strength. People recognize strength in others, and they will respect you more when they see that you're confident in your choices, even when they might not agree with them. Not justifying your decisions also allows you to move with purpose and clarity. Every time you feel the need to explain yourself, you lose momentum. You become distracted by the need to defend your actions, instead of focusing on where you're going. Justification is a form of mental clutter. It pulls your focus away from what's truly important. By not justifying your decisions, you clear that clutter and allow yourself to move forward with clarity and conviction. One of the biggest hurdles to building self-respect is the fear of making mistakes. The fear that others will judge you for your missteps or poor choices. But the truth is, mistakes are a part of life. They are not only inevitable, they are also valuable. When you make a mistake, it doesn't diminish your worth. It simply means you've learned something new. The key is not to justify the mistake, but to learn from it. You don't need to explain why you made a poor choice. What matters is that you take responsibility for it, and grow from the experience. When you stop justifying your decisions, you also stop giving away your power. Every time you try to explain or defend a decision, you give part of yourself away. You open the door for others to influence you, to make you second-guess yourself, and to lead you into uncertainty. But when you refuse to justify your choices, you take full ownership. You stand strong in your conviction, and stop allowing others to determine the worth of your decisions. You don't need to defend your choices. You just need to trust that they were the best decisions you could make with the information you had at the time. Another important aspect of not justifying your decisions is learning to trust your intuition. Too often, we justify our choices because we feel like we need to explain them to others. But deep down, we already know why we made them. Your intuition is a powerful guide. It speaks to you clearly and confidently. When you justify your decisions, you are second-guessing that inner wisdom. You are looking outward instead of inward, seeking approval from others instead of trusting yourself. To build self-respect, you need to trust that inner voice. You need to honor your intuition and make decisions based on what feels right for you, not based on what others expect or want from you. The act of standing firm in your decisions, without justification, also helps you develop emotional maturity. It requires strength to stand by your choices and to resist the urge to explain or apologize for them. It means accepting that not everyone will understand or agree with you, and that's perfectly okay. Emotional maturity is the ability to stay true to your beliefs, regardless of external pressures. It's being able to look at yourself in the mirror and know that you are proud of the choices you've made, even if others don't get it. To build self-respect, you must understand that your worth is not determined by the opinions of others. Your self-respect comes from within, and it's built through your ability to stand firm in your decisions, without feeling the need to justify them. Every time you make a decision, trust that you made the best choice you could with the knowledge, experience, and intuition you had at the time. And when you stop justifying yourself, you send a powerful message to the world and to yourself that you are worthy of respect and that you trust yourself. Remember, your decisions are yours to make. You don't owe anyone an explanation. When you refuse to justify yourself, you are claiming your space in this world. You are taking ownership of your life, and you are saying that you trust yourself enough to stand by your choices, no matter what anyone else thinks. That is the foundation of self-respect. You don't need anyone's approval, and you don't need to justify why you do what you do. Your actions speak for themselves, and the more you trust in your decisions, the more you build a life that is authentic and true to who you really are. Number 4. Earn respect by fixing things instead of complaining. When faced with challenges or difficult situations, it's easy to fall into the habit of complaining. Complaints seem like a natural response when things aren't going the way we want them to. But here's the reality: complaining doesn't solve problems. In fact, it often makes them worse. If you want to earn respect both from others and from yourself, fixing the problem is the key. Not talking about how bad it is. We live in a world where it's all too easy to point out what's wrong. Whether it's a tough situation at work, issues in personal relationships, or frustration with a system that isn't working, complaining seems like an easy way to release frustration. But when you complain, all you're doing is focusing on the problem. You're giving energy to what isn't working, rather than what you can do to make things better. Complaining might bring temporary relief or sympathy from others, but it never brings a solution. You're simply standing still, talking about the same issue over and over, and never moving toward fixing it. The real power comes in taking action. When you choose to fix a problem instead of complain about it, you demonstrate strength, leadership, and self-reliance. You show that you're someone who takes responsibility, not someone who waits around for things to change or hopes others will fix the issue for you. The act of fixing something shows that you have control over your life and your environment. Instead of letting problems dictate your mood, energy, and actions, you take charge and work toward a solution. When you focus on solutions, you shift the conversation from one of helplessness to one of empowerment. Complaining places you in a victim mindset. You're telling yourself and others that there's nothing you can do about the situation, that it's all out of your hands. This mentality weakens you. It keeps you stuck in a cycle of negativity. But when you focus on fixing things, you take ownership, you take responsibility. And when you take responsibility, You develop the mindset of a problem solver. You are no longer at the mercy of your circumstances. Instead, you are actively creating the circumstances you want to experience. Here's a simple truth. People respect those who take action, not those who complain. When you're in the habit of fixing things, others start to notice. They see that you don't waste time talking about how tough things are or how unfair life is. Instead, you roll up your sleeves, take a deep breath and get to work. Whether it's at work, in relationships or in personal endeavors, the person who fixes things is always seen as more valuable and more capable than the person who only talks about the problem. Complaining takes up time and energy, but it doesn't move you forward. Fixing things requires action, and action is what gets results. Think about the people you respect most in your life. Are they the ones who constantly talk about how hard things are, or are they the ones who take initiative, even in the face of difficulty? The people who earn your respect are likely the ones who focus on solutions. They don't let problems keep them down for long. They rise above challenges with resilience, and they lead by example. When you focus on fixing things, you start to embody the qualities that earn you the respect of others. You demonstrate strength, determination, and an unwavering commitment to doing what needs to be done. And because of this, people start looking to you for guidance. They see you as someone who can be trusted to handle difficult situations, and they admire your ability to stay calm, collected, and focused on finding solutions. There's a profound sense of self-respect that comes with fixing problems instead of complaining. When you choose to take action, you develop a deep sense of satisfaction and pride. You know you didn't waste time complaining about how bad things are. Instead, you chose to do something about it. You stood up and took responsibility, even when it would have been easier to blame others or make excuses. This builds your inner strength and confidence. Every time you fix something, you reinforce the belief in yourself that you have what it takes to handle life's challenges. But fixing problems is not always easy. It takes effort, patience, and persistence. It requires you to look at situations from a different perspective. Instead of focusing on how something isn't working, you need to shift your mindset to ask yourself, what can I do to make this better? This shift from complaining to problem solving is what sets people apart. It's what turns ordinary individuals into leaders and difference makers. When you focus on solutions, you develop a habit of looking for opportunities to improve, rather than staying stuck in frustration. Furthermore, the ability to fix things instead of complaining builds resilience. Life will inevitably throw obstacles your way, but when you get into the habit of taking action, you learn that no problem is too big to solve. You develop the mental toughness to face challenges head-on, without allowing yourself to be bogged down by negativity or self-doubt. Instead of throwing up your hands in frustration, you roll up your sleeves and dive in. Over time, this resilience strengthens your character and helps you develop a growth mindset. You stop seeing challenges as roadblocks and start seeing them as opportunities to grow, learn, and improve. Another important aspect of earning respect by fixing things is that you become a role model for others. When you actively work on solutions rather than complain, you show others what it looks like to handle adversity with grace and determination. Your actions inspire those around you to take responsibility for their own challenges, to look for solutions, and to stop wasting energy on things they cannot change. By leading by example, you become a source of inspiration for others who are facing their own difficulties. Your behavior encourages others to step up and take charge, instead of getting stuck in the same cycle of complaining. In contrast, complaining has the opposite effect. It creates a culture of negativity and helplessness. When you complain, you encourage others to do the same. You breed an environment of defeatism where people feel powerless to change their circumstances. Complaining may feel good in the moment, but it does nothing to solve the problem. It keeps you focused on the wrong things. And the more you complain, the more you reinforce the habit of avoiding responsibility and action. To earn respect, you must choose to act, not talk. Action is what solves problems. It is what drives progress, not endless discussions about how bad things are. When you focus on fixing things, you not only solve the immediate issue at hand, but you also position yourself as a solution-oriented person who can be trusted in any situation. You demonstrate that you are someone who doesn't back down from a challenge, but faces it head-on, with a mindset of finding solutions, not excuses. This earns the respect of others, and builds your own self-respect. So, the next time you find yourself in a difficult situation, remember this: you don't need to complain about how hard things are. You don't need to explain why it's unfair or impossible. Instead, focus your energy on fixing it. Take responsibility. Look for solutions. And in doing so, you will not only solve the problem at hand, but also earn the respect of everyone around you. And most importantly, you will earn the respect you deserve from yourself. Number 5. Strengthen your mind by owning everything without excuse. Taking ownership of your life and everything that happens in it is a crucial step toward personal growth. The moment you decide to own everything without making excuses, you are stepping into your power. It's easy to point fingers and blame others or circumstances for why things aren't going the way you want them to, but true strength comes when you refuse to let anything control you. You alone are responsible for your life. And when you accept that responsibility fully, you unlock the power to change everything. Let's start with a simple but powerful idea. Your life, your decisions, and your outcomes are all a direct result of what you choose to do or not do. The sooner you realize that, the sooner you can begin to strengthen your mind. You are not a victim of your circumstances, and nothing can force you into a position unless you let it. Life will throw challenges your way. It will present obstacles, but it's your choice how you respond. Do you own your choices, or do you give away your power by making excuses? Excuses weaken you. They make you believe you have no control over your situation, and they give you a reason to avoid taking responsibility. Every time you make an excuse, you tell yourself that the circumstances around you are bigger than your ability to influence them. But nothing is bigger than your ability to take action. You have the power to decide how you respond, how you act, and ultimately how you succeed. Owning everything means that you take full responsibility for everything that happens to you. Your successes, your failures, your happiness, and your struggles. This doesn't mean you blame yourself for everything, but it does mean you recognize that the way you choose to respond to everything that happens in your life shapes your reality. When you stop making excuses, you stop giving away your power. You realize that regardless of the situation, your reaction is in your hands. You can choose to stand strong, adapt, and make the most out of any situation. Or you can choose to give in and blame external factors for why things aren't going the way you want. When you start owning everything, you build resilience. Life will knock you down, but if you accept responsibility for your actions, you'll always get back up. By owning every situation, good or bad, you become emotionally stronger. You stop hiding behind excuses and start facing the facts. This requires courage, but it's that courage that will ultimately allow you to grow. There's another side to this. The moment you own your life, you stop playing the victim. The victim mentality keeps you stuck in the same patterns, constantly complaining and explaining why things aren't working. But when you own everything, you no longer feel powerless. You see obstacles as opportunities, not as barriers. Challenges are no longer something you have to endure, but something you can learn from. The fear that often holds you back will dissolve because you realize that you have the ability to control how you respond to adversity. Strengthening your mind is not about avoiding discomfort or challenges. It's about embracing them and using them as stepping stones for growth. It's about taking full responsibility for the outcomes of your actions. If you succeed, you take credit. If you fail, you accept it as a lesson. Every experience is a chance to learn and improve, but that process can only happen when you own everything in your life without excuses. Only when you stop blaming others can you see what role you've played in your life's circumstances. You will stop being a passive participant and become an active creator of your future. Owning everything is also about focusing on what you can control and letting go of what you can't. Many people waste energy trying to change things they have no control over. Whether it's other people's actions, decisions, or the economy, there are countless things beyond our control. However, the one thing you can control is yourself, your actions, your mindset, and your attitude. When you choose to focus on the things you can change, you stop wasting time on things outside of your control. Instead of complaining about how things are, you focus on what you can do to make things better for yourself. The process of owning everything allows you to shift your focus from what you don't have control over to what you do. Taking ownership also means accepting that not everything will go the way you want it to. Life is unpredictable. There will be failures, setbacks, and moments when things seem to fall apart. However, owning those moments is what allows you to move forward. It is easy to say that a failure was the result of something or someone else. It's harder to take a deep breath, accept responsibility, and learn from it. But by doing so, you gain valuable insight into how you can do better next time. You build your strength through the lessons learned, not the blame assigned. The true essence of owning everything lies in your ability to change and improve. It's about becoming better than you were yesterday by learning from your experiences, not blaming them. By refusing to make excuses, you take control of your personal growth. You stop looking outside of yourself for answers and start looking within. The solutions to your problems are in your hands. And the more you accept this, the more powerful and effective you become in every area of your life. This concept of ownership extends into how you deal with your mistakes. Everyone makes them. It's part of being human. But when you own your mistakes, you stop repeating them. You stop making the same excuses. You don't let guilt or shame keep you down. Instead, you take responsibility, correct your course, and move forward with a renewed sense of purpose. There's no growth in denial. Denying the truth or refusing to take responsibility keeps you stuck in the same place. But when you own your mistakes, you open the door to learning, growth, and eventual success. Owning everything also means becoming self-aware. You start to recognize your patterns, your triggers, and your habits. You acknowledge when you've made poor decisions, and instead of making excuses, you evaluate what went wrong. You can then make adjustments and improve moving forward. Self-awareness is an essential tool for anyone looking to strengthen their mind and achieve their goals. The more you understand your own behavior, the better equipped you are to make choices that align with your true potential. When you strengthen your mind by owning everything without excuse, you build a strong foundation for success. You develop the ability to face challenges head-on, without being swayed by doubt or fear. You create a mindset that is rooted in accountability and resilience. And perhaps most importantly, you free yourself from the burden of excuses. You no longer look for reasons why things didn't work. Instead, you look for ways to make things work. You stop being a passive observer of your life and start being the active creator of your destiny. So remember this: own everything. Your successes, your failures, your joy, and your struggles. When you do this, you will unlock your true potential. You will develop a mindset that is powerful and unshakable. And in doing so, you will become the best version of yourself, strong, resilient, and unstoppable. Number 6. Prove your worth by actions, not empty explanations. Proving your worth isn't about telling people what you can do or explaining why you deserve something. It's about showing them through your actions. The world doesn't care about your words unless your actions back them up. It's easy to talk about your potential, your goals, or your dreams. But what truly matters is what you do, not what you say. Talk is cheap. Action is priceless. When you speak about your goals, ambitions, and desires, people will listen. But when you act on those words, people will follow. The reality is, anyone can explain themselves or try to justify why they are worthy of something. But it's in the doing, the consistent effort, and the results that people will see your true worth. Words can only go so far. It's the work, the effort, and the persistence that reveal your true character. Your actions speak volumes more than your explanations ever will. Many of us get caught up in the trap of explaining ourselves. Whether it's to justify our decisions, to defend our position, or to prove that we are capable, we fall into the habit of trying to convince others of our worth. But the truth is, you don't need to explain your worth to anyone. Your value isn't determined by someone else's perception of you. It is proven through your actions. Every day you have the opportunity to prove what you're capable of through your behavior. And let me tell you something, actions will always outshine words. Think about the people you respect most in life. Are they the ones who constantly explain themselves or the ones who let their actions do the talking? The people you admire aren't constantly justifying their decisions or explaining why they deserve respect. They are living in a way that naturally commands respect. Their actions are a testament to their capabilities and their character. They let their results speak for themselves. That's the kind of person you want to be. In any area of your life, whether it's your career, personal development, relationships, or fitness, the key to proving your worth is through consistent, effective action. Words are fleeting, and explanations can be forgotten. but the results of your hard work are undeniable. The effort you put in, the decisions you make, and the results you achieve are what will define your worth. Actions are the currency of success. They are the proof that you are committed to becoming the best version of yourself. When you focus on proving your worth through actions, you stop worrying about what others think of you. You stop feeling the need to explain why you deserve something. Instead, you focus on showing up, working hard, and delivering results. You become so focused on your goals and your mission that external validation becomes irrelevant. You don't need to explain your worth to anyone because your actions are proving it every single day. Another benefit of proving your worth through action is the sense of accomplishment and fulfillment it brings. When you take action, you see tangible progress. You witness firsthand the results of your hard work, and that brings a deeper sense of satisfaction than any explanation ever could. No one can take away your accomplishments because they are a direct result of your efforts. Your actions create a legacy, while explanations are forgotten in the wind. People often waste energy trying to explain themselves or justify their actions. They think that if they can just explain things the right way, others will understand and appreciate them. But here's the truth. The right explanation will not matter if there is no action behind it. You can explain your passion, your commitment, and your worth. But unless you back those words up with tangible action, they won't mean anything. People respect people who deliver, not people who talk about delivering. Your actions are your reputation. They define how others see you and how you see yourself. Think about the times in your life when you've explained your decisions or tried to justify yourself. Did it truly change anything? Did it shift people's perspectives or make them view you differently? More often than not, the answer is no. And that's because words, no matter how well constructed, can't replace the impact of action. People believe in what they see, not just in what they hear. Actions are a true reflection of who you are and what you stand for. The next time you feel the urge to explain yourself, remember this: you don't owe anyone an explanation. You owe it to yourself to take action and prove your worth through your work. Let your results speak for themselves. Instead of talking about how committed you are to your goals, show it by putting in the work every single day. Instead of explaining why you're worthy of a promotion, show it through your performance and the value you bring to the table. Your actions will always speak louder than words, and they'll carry far more weight than any explanation could ever offer. Proving your worth through action also builds your self-respect. When you take consistent, intentional action toward your goals, you feel a sense of pride in yourself. You know that you are making progress, and that progress is a direct result of your efforts. This creates a sense of internal confidence and self-belief that no amount of explanation can provide. Your worth becomes rooted in your actions, not in the opinions of others. And when your worth is tied to your actions, it becomes unshakable. Another crucial point to understand is that action breeds momentum. When you consistently take action, even in small ways, you start to build momentum. This momentum propels you forward and helps you achieve even greater things. Each action you take builds upon the previous one, and before you know it, you've made significant progress toward your goals. The more you focus on action, the more results you'll see, and the more your worth will become undeniable. Momentum can't be built through explanations. It can only be built through action. Taking action also forces you to be accountable. When you're the one doing the work, you are the one responsible for the outcomes. There's no room for excuses, no room for blame, no room for deflection. You are in control of your own success, and it's up to you to prove your worth through your efforts. This accountability fosters growth, both personally and professionally. When you take responsibility for your actions, you grow stronger, more resilient, and more capable of handling any challenge that comes your way. Number 7. Rise above weakness by eliminating every single complaint. Complaints are like anchors that hold you back from reaching your potential. Every time you complain, you are giving away your power. Complaints shift the focus from solutions to problems. And in doing so, they keep you trapped in a cycle of negativity. To rise above weakness, you must eliminate every single complaint from your life. This is not just about complaining less. It's about changing your mindset entirely and taking responsibility for the way you respond to situations. When you complain, you are essentially saying that you have no control over your circumstances. You're giving away your power to things that are beyond your control. But when you refuse to complain, you are taking full ownership of your life. You are choosing to focus on what you can control and moving forward with purpose. Complaints are an expression of helplessness, while a solution-oriented mindset is an expression of strength. By eliminating complaints, you begin to replace them with constructive thoughts and actions. It's easy to fall into the trap of complaining. We all do it at times. We complain about our jobs, our relationships, the weather, our health, the government, and countless other things. But when we complain, we aren't solving anything. Complaints are distractions that pull our attention away from the things that really matter. They prevent us from moving forward and growing. Complaints are the language of weakness. They tell the world that you are letting life happen to you instead of happening to life. They keep you stuck in a victim mentality, which prevents you from embracing your full potential. To eliminate complaints, you must first become aware of how often you complain. It starts with self-awareness. Every time you catch yourself complaining, stop and ask yourself, is this complaint serving me? Is it helping me move forward? The answer will almost always be no. Complaints only keep you in the same place, and they drain your energy. They prevent you from seeing the possibilities in every situation. They cloud your judgment and limit your growth. Once you recognize how often you complain, it's time to take action. The next time you feel a complaint rising up inside of you, stop and shift your focus. Instead of dwelling on what's wrong, ask yourself, what can I do to make this better? How can I take responsibility for this situation? By shifting your mindset, you begin to take control of your life. You stop letting external circumstances dictate your happiness and start taking proactive steps to create the life you want. This change in perspective doesn't happen overnight, but it is a process that pays off in the long run. When you stop complaining, you start to see the opportunities in every challenge. Instead of seeing obstacles, you see lessons and growth opportunities. You stop feeling like life is happening to you and start feeling like you are in control. This mindset shift is the key to rising above weakness. When you stop complaining, you take the first step towards becoming stronger, more resilient, and more empowered. Another powerful benefit of eliminating complaints is the impact it has on your relationships. Complaining is contagious. When you complain, you attract people who also complain. You may find yourself surrounded by negative, like-minded people who focus on what's wrong with the world instead of what's right. But when you stop complaining, you raise the energy of the people around you, you become a source of positivity, and others will be drawn to your strength. You will inspire them to stop complaining and start taking action toward their own goals. Eliminating complaints also means eliminating the need to blame others. Complaints often involve placing blame on someone or something else. We blame our boss for not recognizing our hard work. We blame our friends for not being there when we need them. And we blame our circumstances for holding us back. But blame doesn't help anyone. It doesn't change anything. It only keeps you stuck in the past, focusing on things that you cannot control. By taking responsibility and eliminating complaints, you stop looking for excuses and start finding solutions. You stop blaming others and start looking at what you can do to make things better. This is the hallmark of a strong, empowered person. When you choose not to complain, you are also choosing to take ownership of your emotions. Complaints are often fueled by frustration, anger, or disappointment. But these emotions are temporary. When you refuse to complain, you stop giving power to these negative emotions. Instead of allowing your emotions to control you, you take charge of them. You choose to respond with calmness, clarity, and purpose. You become the master of your emotional state, rather than letting your circumstances dictate how you feel. Another important aspect of eliminating complaints is understanding that life is not always going to be easy. Challenges will come. Difficulties will arise. But it's not the challenges that define you. It's how you respond to them. Complaining about difficulties only adds to your stress and frustration, but choosing to rise above them, to see the challenge as an opportunity for growth, is what will make you stronger. Every time you face a setback, instead of complaining, ask yourself, what can I learn from this? How can I grow from this experience? This mindset will help you overcome obstacles with grace and resilience. Rising above weakness requires you to become more than just a survivor. It requires you to become a creator. You have the power to create the life you want, and that power starts with taking full responsibility for your actions, thoughts, and reactions. Complaints only keep you in a reactive state. They make you feel helpless and powerless. But when you stop complaining, you take a proactive approach to your life. You become the creator of your own destiny. When you eliminate every single complaint, you free up mental and emotional energy that can be better used for productive actions. Complaints drain you. They take away your focus, your time, and your creativity. They keep you stuck in a negative loop. But when you stop complaining, you create space for new ideas, fresh perspectives, and positive energy. You begin to focus on solutions, on growth, and on moving forward. This is how you rise above weakness. The power to rise above weakness lies within you. It starts with eliminating complaints and choosing a mindset of strength. When you stop complaining, you stop giving away your power. You take control of your life and your emotions, and you start moving forward with purpose and determination. The world is full of challenges, but those challenges don't have to define you. You have the power to rise above them, and it starts with taking responsibility and refusing to complain. The next time you feel the urge to complain, remember that you are stronger than that. You are capable of handling any situation with grace and confidence. Number 8. Stay grounded by choosing silence over self-defense. It demands the ability to choose silence over self-defense. When someone challenges you, criticizes you, or attacks you, your instinct may be to fight back, to justify yourself, to explain, or to stand your ground. However, this immediate reaction often comes from a place of ego, insecurity, or the need for validation. True strength lies not in how loudly you defend yourself, but in the quiet strength of knowing when to remain silent. Choosing silence over self-defense is one of the most powerful ways to stay grounded in any situation. It's not about being passive or weak. It's about recognizing that not every challenge, insult, or confrontation requires a response. Often the loudest voices in the room are the least effective. It is the quiet, composed person who maintains control of their emotions and thoughts who ultimately commands respect. Silence is not a form of weakness, it's a form of wisdom. The more you respond defensively to others, the more you allow them to control your emotions and your actions. When you defend yourself, you are essentially giving the other person power over your emotional state. You are allowing their words, their opinions, or their judgments to dictate how you feel and how you act. But when you choose silence, you take back that power. You stop reacting to others and instead focus on how you want to respond. Silence gives you the space to process your emotions, to think clearly, and to choose your next move with intention. Staying grounded through silence does not mean accepting mistreatment or allowing others to walk all over you. It means knowing that your value is not dependent on the opinions of others. You do not need to explain yourself to anyone. When you feel the need to defend your choices, actions, or beliefs, it often stems from an internal fear of being misunderstood or judged. But here's the truth. Not everyone needs to understand you, and not everyone will. Seeking approval from others is a never-ending cycle that only leads to frustration and dissatisfaction. Instead, choose to trust in your own judgment and stand firm in your decisions, without needing to explain them to anyone. In moments of criticism or attack, it is important to realize that people who challenge you or criticize you are often projecting their own insecurities or frustrations. When you respond defensively, you become a part of their narrative, and you allow their negativity to influence you. But when you stay silent, you refuse to engage in their drama. You step out of the cycle of negativity and choose to protect your peace. Silence allows you to hold on to your own energy, your own sense of self, without being pulled into other people's emotional chaos. Remaining silent is not an invitation for others to mistreat you or an endorsement of bad behavior. It is a conscious decision to rise above the situation and not get bogged down by petty conflicts. When you defend yourself, you often end up in an endless back-and-forth exchange that leads nowhere productive. But when you choose silence, you take a higher road. You allow others to have their say, but you don't let their words define you. You know that their opinions are not facts and that they do not have the power to dictate your self-worth. Choosing silence is also about respecting your own emotional energy. When you engage in defensive arguments or try to prove yourself to others, you drain your energy. Defending yourself in an argument requires mental and emotional effort, and it often leads to frustration and exhaustion. Silence, on the other hand, conserves your energy. It allows you to remain calm, composed, and centered, even in the face of provocation. By choosing silence, you protect your emotional well-being and ensure that you are not giving your energy away to things or people that don't deserve it. Furthermore, staying silent can often diffuse a tense situation. When you remain calm and refuse to engage in an argument, you stop feeding into the negativity. Silence has a powerful way of disarming people. When others realize that they cannot provoke you, they often lose interest in continuing the confrontation. Your silence speaks volumes. It shows that you are in control, that you are unshaken by their words or actions. It conveys strength, confidence, and inner peace, qualities that demand respect. Silence is also a form of self-discipline. It takes discipline to not respond impulsively, especially when emotions are high. But the ability to hold your tongue in challenging situations is a mark of emotional intelligence. It shows that you can manage your emotions and that you are not easily swayed by external circumstances. Staying grounded requires this level of discipline, the ability to pause, to breathe, and to choose how you respond, rather than simply reacting to what others say or do. In addition to protecting your emotional energy, choosing silence over self-defense also allows you to listen better. When you are not busy defending yourself, you have the opportunity to listen fully to what the other person is saying. You can observe their words and their behavior without being clouded by your own emotions or need to justify yourself. This allows you to gain clarity, to understand their perspective, and to decide if their words are worth your energy. Often the best response is not to respond at all. By staying silent, you give yourself the space to evaluate the situation more clearly and to respond in a way that is thoughtful, rather than reactive. There is an immense amount of power in silence. It allows you to remain composed, to protect your energy, and to stay grounded in the face of adversity. When you choose silence over self-defense, you demonstrate your strength of character and your emotional maturity. You refuse to be dragged into petty disputes or to waste your energy on things that don't serve your growth. Silence allows you to rise above the noise and to stay focused on what truly matters. Number 9. Develop discipline by letting go of every excuse. Developing discipline is one of the most powerful ways to take control of your life. It's a skill that can transform not only your personal growth, but also how you interact with the world. Discipline allows you to make decisions that align with your highest goals and values. However, to truly develop discipline, you must be willing to let go of every excuse you use to justify why you can't do something, why you're not making progress, or why you're stuck in a cycle of procrastination. Excuses are the anchors that keep you from moving forward. They hold you back, slow you down, and ultimately prevent you from achieving the success you deserve. Every excuse you make is a choice to avoid responsibility. It's an easy way out. We've all done it. Made excuses for why we didn't achieve something, why we didn't take action, or why we fell short of our goals. The moment you make an excuse, you give up control over your circumstances. You are telling yourself that external factors are to blame for your situation, and you remove yourself from the equation. But the truth is, we are responsible for our actions, for our results, and for our choices. Excuses create a false narrative that keeps us in a victim mentality. It tells us that we don't have power, that we can't change things, and that we're not capable of achieving our goals. But when you let go of excuses, you open up the door to unlimited potential. Letting go of excuses is not easy. It requires a shift in mindset, a willingness to take full responsibility for where you are in life and where you want to go. It means acknowledging that no one else is going to create the life you want for you. It's up to you to take the necessary steps to build the future you envision. When you stop blaming others, your circumstances, or external situations, you regain control. You stop seeing yourself as a victim and start seeing yourself as the creator of your own destiny. It's easy to make excuses when things aren't going the way you want. You might say, "I don't have time," I'm not good enough. I don't have the resources, or it's too hard. These are all excuses that come from a place of fear and self-doubt. They are designed to protect you from failure, but in reality, they hold you back from achieving greatness. Excuses are justifications for why you shouldn't push through the discomfort, the struggle, or the challenges. They allow you to avoid taking responsibility for your actions and decisions. But if you want to develop discipline and reach your goals, you must be willing to eliminate every single excuse that stands in your way. The key to developing discipline is to take consistent action, even when things aren't perfect. Life will never be without its challenges. There will always be obstacles, distractions, and moments of doubt. But discipline is about committing to your goals, no matter what. It's about showing up every single day and doing the work, even when it's hard. When you let go of excuses, you stop waiting for the perfect time to take action. You stop waiting for everything to fall into place. You understand that the right time is now, and the only thing standing between you and your success is the decision to take action. Letting go of excuses also means developing resilience. Life will throw curveballs at you. Things won't always go as planned. There will be setbacks, failures, and disappointments. But discipline is about your ability to get back up and keep moving forward. It's about learning from your mistakes, adjusting your approach, and never giving up. Excuses may temporarily make you feel better when things go wrong, but they won't get you any closer to your goals. On the other hand, taking responsibility for your actions and pushing through the tough times will help you grow stronger and more focused. Resilience is what allows you to stay the course and continue working toward your goals, even in the face of adversity. When you stop making excuses, you start becoming more accountable to yourself. The power of discipline lies in being honest with yourself about your actions, your choices, and your progress. It's about setting goals and following through with the actions required to achieve them. Accountability is a critical part of developing discipline because it forces you to look at your life and your actions without any filter. It makes you face the truth about what's working and what isn't. It's easy to blame your lack of progress on external circumstances, but when you take full accountability, you realize that you are the one responsible for your results. You can no longer hide behind excuses. You can no longer make excuses for not achieving your goals. Discipline also teaches you to focus on what you can control. There are many things in life that are outside of our control. Other people's actions, the weather, the economy, or unforeseen events. But instead of making excuses and blaming these factors, discipline allows you to focus on what you can control: your mindset, your choices, and your actions. When you take responsibility for what you can control and let go of everything else, you give yourself the best possible chance to succeed. Excuses keep you fixated on what you can't control, which only wastes your time and energy. But discipline keeps you focused on what's within your power to change. And that's where the real growth happens. To develop discipline, you must also learn to embrace discomfort. We often make excuses because we don't want to experience the discomfort that comes with growth. Whether it's physical discomfort from a workout, emotional discomfort from confronting our fears, or mental discomfort from facing the truth about our weaknesses, discomfort is a natural part of the process. The more you resist discomfort, the more you feed your excuses. But when you embrace discomfort, you build resilience and strength. Discipline is the ability to keep going even when things are tough. It's the courage to move forward in spite of the fear and discomfort that might arise. As you let go of excuses, you will start to see massive improvements in your life. You will develop the ability to stay focused on your goals, to take consistent action, and to bounce back from setbacks without getting discouraged. Your confidence will grow because you will know that you are in control of your actions and your results. And as you develop discipline, you will start to see how much more capable and powerful you are than you ever imagined. So if you are ready to develop discipline, the first step is to eliminate every excuse you've been making. Stop blaming your circumstances. Stop waiting for the perfect moment. Stop telling yourself that you can't. Instead, own your actions, take responsibility, and commit to doing the work every single day. Remember, discipline is not about being perfect. It's about showing up, even when it's hard. It's about sticking to your goals, even when the world is telling you to quit. And most importantly, it's about letting go of the excuses that have held you back for so long. The moment you let go of every excuse, you will step into a new level of discipline, focus, and success. The power to change your life lies within you, if you are willing to stop making excuses and start taking action. Number 10. Lead yourself by showing strength through quiet action. Leadership is often perceived as something loud and visible. We tend to think of leaders as those who speak with authority, demand attention, and constantly put themselves in the spotlight. However, true leadership is not always about what you say or how loudly you say it. Sometimes, leadership is shown through quiet action, actions that speak louder than words. It's in those moments when you are doing the work behind the scenes, when no one is watching, that you build true strength and influence. The ability to lead yourself through quiet action is one of the most powerful forms of leadership you can cultivate, and it's essential for anyone looking to take control of their life and inspire others to do the same. Leading yourself doesn't require grand gestures. It doesn't require constant praise or recognition. True leadership starts with you. It begins with the small daily choices you make that align with your values and goals. It is in the quiet moments when you're faced with a choice to either take the easy path or do the hard work that your leadership is defined. When you lead yourself with discipline, consistency, and focus, you create a foundation that others can respect and follow. Your actions, no matter how small, reflect the strength of your character and the depth of your commitment. Quiet action is powerful because it comes from a place of inner strength and conviction. It's easy to talk about your goals and dreams, but it's the consistent, disciplined actions you take every single day that move you closer to your desired outcomes. Actions speak louder than words. Anyone can talk about what they want to achieve, but it's the person who follows through, who does the work day in and day out, that shows true leadership. Leading yourself by showing strength through quiet action means that you don't need to explain your decisions, seek validation, or ask for approval from others. Your actions will validate your intentions. You will demonstrate, through your consistent efforts, that you are serious about your goals and your growth. In the world we live in, there's often a temptation to be loud, to be noticed, and to seek attention. We want to prove ourselves, to be seen, to get credit for our hard work. But real leadership doesn't require that kind of external validation. When you lead yourself through quiet action, you focus on what's important, on the work itself, on the discipline it takes to show up every day, and on the progress you're making, even if it's unseen by others. It's about doing what needs to be done, regardless of whether anyone is watching or acknowledging it. You don't need applause or praise. The satisfaction comes from knowing that you are consistently doing the work that will take you closer to your goals. One of the greatest challenges in life is staying committed to your goals even when no one is around to cheer you on. It's easy to stay motivated when you have external validation, when people are praising you, or when the results are immediately visible. But the real test of leadership comes when you are working in silence, when there is no recognition, and when you are unsure if the effort is even paying off. This is where quiet action truly shines. It's in these moments that your inner strength, resilience, and commitment to your vision are revealed. You continue to move forward, one step at a time, because you know that success is not just about the destination, it's about the process and the effort you put in, no matter who is watching. When you lead yourself with quiet action, you become a person of integrity. Integrity is doing what you say you will do, even when there's no one there to hold you accountable. It's about living up to your word, even when the circumstances aren't ideal, and even when there's no immediate payoff. Integrity is not built in moments of applause. It's built in the quiet, sometimes mundane, moments when you are alone with your thoughts and your goals. It's about staying true to yourself and your commitments, regardless of the distractions or challenges you face. True strength is not found in boasting or in the need for recognition. Strength is found in your ability to do the work, day in and day out, without needing anyone to acknowledge it. It's about developing the discipline to continue working even when progress feels slow, even when setbacks occur, and even when things don't go as planned. Quiet action builds strength because it requires patience, persistence, and a belief in your long-term vision. It's the quiet moments that truly define you. The strength you build during these times will carry you through when the going gets tough. The work you do in silence will speak for itself. Moreover, leading yourself through quiet action has the power to inspire others. People are drawn to those who are consistent, dependable, and who stay true to their word. When you consistently show up and do the work without needing external validation, You set an example for others to follow. You become a living example of what is possible when you lead yourself with integrity, discipline, and focus. Your quiet actions will inspire others to take their own leadership seriously. They will see your consistency, your resilience, and your commitment, and they will be encouraged to lead themselves in the same way. Leadership is contagious. When you embody quiet strength, others will naturally follow your example and be inspired to make their own actions speak louder than words. It's important to recognize that quiet action is not the same as inaction. Quiet action means taking deliberate, consistent steps toward your goals, even when the path isn't glamorous or easy. It's not about being passive or waiting for the right moment. It's about taking responsibility for your life and doing what needs to be done, even if it means working behind the scenes. Leading yourself with quiet action means that you show up, do the work, and remain focused on the process, not the praise. Lastly, quiet action is empowering. It gives you a sense of control over your life and your future. When you lead yourself with quiet action, you no longer feel the need to explain yourself to others or justify your choices. You are confident in your ability to make decisions, follow through, and achieve results. You trust the process and trust in your own capabilities. The power of quiet action lies in its ability to build self-reliance and self-confidence. You know that you don't need anyone else's approval to move forward. You are in control of your own destiny, and that is the ultimate form of leadership. In conclusion, true leadership starts with leading yourself, and the most powerful way to lead yourself is by showing strength through quiet action. It's about doing the work, staying true to your commitments, and trusting the process. It's not about seeking attention or external validation. It's about consistency, discipline, and resilience. Quiet action speaks louder than words, because it shows your commitment to your goals and your belief in your own potential. So step into your own leadership, take responsibility for your life, and show the world what is possible when you lead yourself with quiet strength.